Yo! Good job, Sparger, man. So today we're back again on another video. This is going to be a live. I keep saying, I don't know why I said live, because I did a recording at first and I deleted it. And I said the same thing, live. But anyway, this is going to be a review of WWE's WrestleMania 41, Night 2. I did a night one. You go check that one out. I probably need to do a more in-depth review on that one because on that one I was kind of in a rush. I had to go somewhere. But anyway, here we go. So I just wanted to get on my phone real quick to say that for those who don't know, you know what I'm saying, your boy did include his streaming clips from the stream. Me and the Rock shirt, that's from night one. And then me and the CENA shirt that I'm wearing now, that's all the clips from night two. For WrestleMania. So to go ahead and follow that TikTok. It's DJ as a Prodigy, you know what I'm saying? But we do our thing and we do it well. And here we go. So I'm not one of these guys that is going to come out and like tell you everything move for move. I just be telling you what I remember. Because I feel like y'all don't want to watch this whole video anyway. Y'all are probably going to skip through it. So it ain't even no sense of trying to like tell you everything move for move. So, but anyway, we started it off with Io versus Rhea versus Bianca for the Women's World Heavyweight Championship. I gave this match a 9 out of 10. As I thought about it more, gave it a 9 out of 10. It was a very good and even some would say great and hot opening. And they started out hot, man. They started trading forearms and, you know, a couple, not in this order, but like trading forearms and diving to the outside and basically a lot of action-packed stuff. You know, Io hitting a springboard moonsault on the floor. Bianca hitting a 450 off the top rope. Io hitting a what was it? She was gonna hit a poison Rana off the top rope, and then Bianca countered that. Or I guess I'll wait. That was more the finish, but Bianca, I think it was Bianca who kicked out of a riptide from Rhea Ripley. She eventually at some point in the match hit her with the hair whip, where she takes the hair and whips them right there, and it makes a loud sound. She did that in the match. Entrances were nothing over the top. You know, Rhea had a little thing over her head, and Bianca had some people, I think they were like jump roping and stuff like that. And, you know, the younger girls twirling the hair and stuff like that, like how Bianca does. So that was the entrance. Anything else I remembered in this match? But no, it was very action packed. You got to see it for yourself. And the finish was Io was going to hit a poison rod off the top. Bianca got in, or then Rhea countered that into where she like propelled her forward and she hit the metal post. And basically Bianca came in there, got Rhea off the top rope, hit a KOD on Rhea Ripley, went for the cover, and as the ref was counting, Io backflipped, did her over the moonsault on the Bianca, which essentially landed her right into the cover, or like it hit Bianca and that popped her like right into the cover. 1, 2, 3. Io pinned Bianca, which I figured that was gonna be the case if she was gonna retain, to win the to win the to retain. She won the match, retained her Women's World Championship. There we go. Anyway, so that was a hot, like I said, 9 out of 10, and by this point I was 1-0 on predictions. So match number 2, the second match we got into was Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, the Sin City Street Fight. Now, I gave this match a 7, like a 7, maybe 7.5, because the only criticism I have about this match is that it should have been longer. That was my only criticism about this match. I thought it was going to go longer, but Drew made his entrance. He had a little, I guess you could say, he wasn't dressed up as a knight, but he had certain things like, the little, he had like did he have a helmet on? No, he had like a cape and a gauntlet and something like that. So he had that type of entrance. And Damian Priest came out with some guitar player that played his music. I forgot his name. But, he was rocking out, you know what I'm saying? And Damian came out with a big cape as well. So I guess capes and wings and things of that nature was the theme for this WrestleMania. But anyway, they started out hot. They didn't waste no time after the match rung, after the bell rung. Only thing I remember from this match was the crucifix bomb through a table. Like Damian Priest hit Drew with a crucifix bomb through the table. There was a point in the match where Drew McIntyre had hit Damian Priest with, I think, some steel steps, and then after that he grabbed the phone out of I guess one of his friends or whatever handed him a phone or his phone, and he posted "bored at work again" on Twitter, and I saw it during the match that he posted that on Twitter or X. He posted that. So that was a nice touch, like he did last year. Took a picture of him beating his opponent until he did like "bored at work." But anyway, he did that, and then like I said, it was a crucifix bomb through the table for Drew McIntyre, and then Drew. I think Damian Priest was going for old school, like how Undertaker does, where he balances on the top rope and walks across it. But then he got shoved off of it and went through two tables that were laid out on the outside earlier in the match. Damian Priest then had his head trapped in between. The finish was Drew put Damian's head in between the turnbuckle, and there was a steel chair in between it as well, so that when he did his Claymore kick, which he did, it would hit not only Damian Priest in the face, but his face would also boom clash in between the chair. And I was like, oh, that's the finish. That has to be the finish. 1, 2, 3, and it indeed was the finish. But the match didn't go. I wish I knew the time for these matches, but it didn't go that long. It wasn't like super short, but like it didn't. You could tell or I should say, it felt like it went by quick. Like it wasn't one of those matches that you knew, like you knew for sure it didn't go like 15 minutes. But anyway, I think I ended up giving it a 7 because it was a good match and good action, and the crowd was into it. But it was just, I thought it was gonna go longer than that. But anyway, Drew got the win, 2-0 on predictions by this point. Like I had said in my preview, Damian Priest had already beaten McIntyre. Like technically, he's pinned McIntyre like 3 times, so he didn't need this win. Because if you think about it, he's been pinning Drew McIntyre. For the last year, he's been the one pinning Drew McIntyre. Like I said, WrestleMania after the cash in, Clash of the Castle when he retained his championship, and Money in the Bank when he retained his championship. All of those, he pinned Drew McIntyre, even though, Punk got involved and stuff. Still, the result was Drew got pinned by Damian Priest. Now, this time, he pinned Damian Priest at WrestleMania 41, so Drew came out with the win. That was a nice, fun match. And then we get on to match number 3. So we were on a roll. This was already doing, after match 1 and 2, I was like, and people on the internet were saying the same thing. This was already better than night 1 by a milestone. Like just with the way this started, the matches being more like just better quality wise and everything. Yeah. Anyway, match number 3 was, I think this was the Fatal 4-Way. Yeah, the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental Championship. I think I gave this match like an 8.5. It was Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Braun Breaker. What I remember from this match, I think Braun Breaker hit a break-in Steiner where he runs up to the top rope, does the Hurricanrana. I think he did that to Finn Balor, I think, may have been. And then there was a nice moment with Braun Breaker where, you know how there was that viral moment that also went viral on my YouTube of Braun Breaker spearing Carlito, and where he, ran from the top of the entrance ramp down the ramp and then speared Carlito and like freaking launched himself into Carlito and rolled all the way over. That's how freaking hard he charged at him. And it was a similar thing here, except he did it on the announce table. Like it was one announce table here. It was an announce table here and then an announce table there. Braun Breaker ran across and speared Carlito, leaping from one announce table to the other, spearing Carlito, and Carlito went through that announce table. And then there was a point in the match where everyone was out of the ring, and Dominic saw that, Finn Balor's back was to him, and he was like, oh, bet. And freaking Dominic drop kicks Finn Balor into the ropes, hits the ropes for the 619, but, Balor caught him. He's like, basically like, you got done, son of a... You know what I'm saying? Like, about to hit you, because they on the same team with Judgment Day and stuff. So he's like, feeling that. And then, yeah, so he caught him there. And then I think Penta early in the match did like a dive, the front flip dive onto the floor. Just trying to think of anything I remember from this match, but before I get to the finish. So I think that was it. Those other near falls, like, Braun Breaker hitting a spear and that being a near fall and stuff like, or somebody breaking up the pin. But the finish was... Braun Breaker did the break-ins, or Braun Breaker got, I think it was like Sling Blade and dropped kicked by Finn Balor, and Balor, I think was it that he hit the coup de grace? Or was it that he didn't hit it? I think he hit the coup de grace onto Braun Breaker, and then after that, after he was like going for the cover, I think Dominic then hit a frog splash off the top rope onto Finn Balor and pinned Finn Balor to become your new Intercontinental Champion. So he pinned Finn Balor, his own partner, But hey, there's a champ in Judgment Day, and it is Dominic Mysterio, man. Or I should say a singles champ in Judgment Day. Now he's the only champ in Judgment Day. If my bad, a little spoiler. Uh, so yeah, Dom is your new Intercontinental Champion. This is, and the crowd popped. Like, they didn't boo it. The crowd actually popped for him. I think they've been enjoying his heel work, so now they're kind of at that phase where maybe they're starting to like him a little bit. But they popped for the victory. And Dominic, even like when he celebrated, he like got out of the ring and then he ran back to the ring to celebrate even more. He just feeling the moment so much he ran back to the ring. But anyway, Dominic won as I predicted, even though I felt that was a bold prediction. But Dominic ended up winning, bro. And I was one of those people who said in the review that it just fit him. Like, it fit him to capitalize off of it being a fatal four-way so that he wouldn't have to take on everybody by himself. Pause. So that he wouldn't have to beat up everybody on his own. It made sense for him to win this fatal four-way in the sense that, okay, it fits his style of match. Like, what other time could you make it make sense for Dominic Mysterio to win this match? So boom, he won the match. That was a bold prediction because I initially thought Braun was winning, but in my preview I said that Dominic was winning. So boom, that happened. And yeah, shout out to Dominic. It was his first main roster singles title. Because I think he won like the North American title in NXT at that one point when Judgment Day was going to NXT for a brief at a time to just beat people up down there. But this is his first main roster singles championship. So shout out to him, Intercontinental Champ, Dominic Mysterio. What they're gonna do with Braun Breaker, I have no idea. I mean, it's not like they can't do anything with him, but I would be curious what his feuds will look like, knowing that he doesn't have the title, you know. So I don't know what type of feuds he's gonna have, but hopefully they just keep him going, man, because the crowd's been loving him. And yeah, Braun Breaker's first ever WrestleMania. You know, for a couple of up and coming NXT talents who had got called up, you know, within the last year, this was their first WrestleMania. So really cool to see that. Or people like Jacob, who they signed from, you know, the indie scene. That was his first WrestleMania, you know, last night. So great to see it. But anyway, we move on. Then it was Randy Orton's Open Challenge. So match number 4, as I'm 3-0 in predictions by this point, Randy Orton's Open Challenge. I said whoever it is, Randy's beating him. That was my prediction. Randy wins no matter who he's going up against. And it's not Rusev, as some people predicted, because, you know, that was one of the things that was the news. It's not Aleister Black, who has been teased in the video package. Oh, it was Say His Name, man. He appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. It was indeed him. It was Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry, like I said, go to my TikTok. You can see my reactions to all of these big moments. Yeah, I went stupid for that, bro, because I grew to like Joe Hendry. At first, it was kind of annoying because I'm like, why is this dude always on my feed? And then I actually saw what he did, and I like saw his, you know, work in the ring as far as, you know, his promos and stuff, and I was entertained by it. So grew to end up liking the guy. Then, you know, WWE and TNA have the relationship, and then they actually have a inked, signed relationship on the piece of paper. You know what I'm saying? So that happened. Boom. So that happens. Joe Hendry's out there, and the crowd popped. Like, it's crazy. He's a TNA superstar, and yet the crowd popped in a way where you would have thought he had already been on the main roster for a couple of years and got over. Like, that's how viral he's gotten, bro, to the point, at least amongst the wrestling community, to where, heck, he's getting pops at WrestleMania. Like, no offense, but freaking Carmelo Hayes doesn't get a reaction that big, and he's actually been signed to the company and has been on their developmental brand and everything, and he don't even get that type of reaction for his I mean, he's a heel, but even as a heel, like, he doesn't get that type of reaction that like a heel would get to match that volume. But anyway, just to give examples of, like, it's people on the roster that have been on WWE's NXT where you would have had a chance to see them, and they aren't even getting reactions this big, you know? So there was a nice surprise. Joe Hendry, hey, man, he said anytime, any place, man. So boom, Joe Hendry's down there, and that's crazy. We're seeing Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry at WrestleMania. That's crazy. Like, Joe Hendry, I know this is a big moment for him. I hoped he was able to soak it all in, because, I mean, freaking 50, 60,000 people in that building. Like, it's at WrestleMania. Think about this. It's tens of thousands of people, 50 plus thousands of people. It's against Randy Orton, and it's at WrestleMania. Like, you tell Joe Hendry this at like 15 or when he's, you know, younger, that's like, there's no way he's believing that. And then it's like, but There we go. It's the whole thing is that I believe in Joe Hendry. So hey man, the belief worked. And so they gave Joe Hendry a little bit of offense here. He delivered I think he hit like a fall away slam on the Randy Orton. Did his kip up, did the We Will Rock You, where he does the, doon chint, doon chint. He did the two stomps and the clap to get the crowd going, and he got him going, and he was about to hit his I think it's the standing ovation, where he kind of, it's like not a choke slam, but it's the same motion. Like he kind of gets you for the choke slam, essentially picks you up and holds you like this, and then plants you down, like essentially like a choke slam. But Randy Orton's like looking at him in a certain way, and because he's like, this dude really think he about to pick me up, basically. And then he hits the arm down, and I forgot what other move was delivered. I know Orton delivered his signature scoop slam and his draping DDT. I'm trying to think if Joe Hendry got any other offensive move, or that I can remember. He got other offensive moves. I just don't think I can remember. I think he had like a neck breaker or something. And then Joe Hendry did his thing where he has his back turned, and then he does the thing where he does like the turn around, smile like this to the camera. And so when he did it in the match, I think before the match, that's what he did it. But he did it before the match started. But then he did it this time in the match. And he did the thing where he, turns around to the camera. But when he turned around to the camera, he got met with an RKO. Like I said, my reaction to this is all on my TikTok. He did his signature, turn around with the smile to the camera, and then Orton hit an RKO on him. I'm like, that was freaking fantastic. And it was a 1, 2, 3. And so Randy Orton beat him. So I was 4-0 on predictions. Randy Orton raises his hand, after he, sits there for a minute. Randy Orton picks him up and raises his hand, just take it all in and stuff like that, showing him all the crowd at WrestleMania, they're cheering for him, right? And it's like they're cheering for him, right? He raising Joe Hendry hand up, right, putting him over, and then proceeds to, as he's letting him walk off a little bit, proceeds to go, you know what, come back for a little minute, and hits him with another RKO, because it's freaking Randy Orton. Hits him with another RKO. And that is how and then the segment ended with Orton. Now he does Joe Hendry's thing where he did, does the thing where he turns into the camera like this, but except he went like this, where he turned into the camera. He goes like he does the signature, the Randy Orton pose where he goes like that. He did so he did his own version of it. It was freaking great. It was just a fun time. I couldn't even rate. I feel like that match didn't even need a rating. I just felt that was just too fun to give a rating. So I rated it a fun out of 10. It wasn't gonna be it wasn't a long match. I think it probably went 5 minutes or whatever. And I know some people were saying well, the champion, this TNA champion essentially jobbed out to Orton, or he didn't even get that. He didn't really look that much of a fighting champion. I'm like, well, if you're trying to tell the story of there's levels to this, and everybody knows WWE's the biggest, obviously, yeah, he probably wouldn't go 15 minutes with Randy Orton. So it's just the fans just be finding stuff to complain about. Come on, bro. You knew that match. You, knowing it's Joe Hendry, knowing he's from another company and all this stuff, you knew he wasn't going to go 15 minutes with Randy Orton. Come on, bro. With Randy Orton, it's not like this or any random from WWE. This is freaking Randy Orton. You know what I'm saying? So to kind of show there's levels to it. Even though, yeah, he's a TNA World Champion, but to show that, okay, there's another, atmosphere to this, it's not going to go long. But anyway, I just saw that little brief complaint before. I'm like, what? No, who thought this was going to go like that long? But anyway, especially it being a surprise opponent, and the surprise opponent is not even a big returning WWE star. This is a TNA superstar, that's gotten pretty viral. But anyway, so it's a whole different concept and dynamic. But anyway, we move on. We move on and we move along. It was then oh man, this is crazy. So 4 matches straight. I'm right. I'm 4-0 in predictions. This is where, unfortunately, not predictions wise, I was still right here, but it started to this is when the excitement of WrestleMania, even though it's still better than night 1 to me, this is when it started to go down. And ironically, two of the best or I guess you could say one of the best wrestlers and one of the best athletes in WWE, and notable names, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul was next. AJ's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Logan's been a hell of an athlete, he's doing his thing in the ring. He's pretty goddamn good. And this actually wasn't that good, bro. It didn't suck. but it wasn't like what you thought it was gonna. You thought it would, you thought it'd be more. So Logan had his entrance where he didn't have the prime bottle this time. Now I was looking forward to that. He didn't have the prime bottle mascot. I was looking forward to that, but we didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he had his entrance was the IRL cam. So the IRL cam is like when you can basically, it's not like the camera they use for television. It's the camera where you can show yourself in real life, like IRL. So where you can, take the camera, move it around and stuff like that. Like if you were basically live streaming yourself walking, in public, like that's an IRL cam. Is when you basically have that camera where instead of doing a vlog where you record yourself, you do an IRL cam where like you could basically do a live recording. Like they can all see you recording yourself and you don't gotta record yourself and stop it and edit it, post it, or whatever. So yeah, IRL cam, and he's moving it around and stuff like that. And yeah, that was his entrance. And AJ Styles, didn't do anything crazy for his entrance. So the match didn't suck, but I just was expecting much better from two of these guys being known for being great athletes in the ring. I was expecting more and or better. So they kind of did all their standard moves. Orton. Logan did his thing where he does the power bomb, he gets you in power bomb position, but then falls backwards so that you take a face buster. AJ got his foot on the rope. He did a buckshot lariat, or his version of that where he flips over the top rope. You know what I'm saying? He does the thing where he flips over the top rope and does the clothesline. And then I think AJ may have hit something. Oh yeah, he had a torture rack bomb where you put him on the back in the torture rack position and spin him around, and he falls into like a power bomb position. Other things I saw. Oh yeah, Logan Paul he did a frog splash where like the IRL cam that was like it was like an IRL cam that I guess was like, I don't know about a drone, but just it had to have been something, because it was like the camera IRL cam was like from up here while he did the splash, so it had to have been a drone or something. And he did the frog splash and it got in that camera angle, and that didn't do the job. And then AJ hit his combos where he starts doing the punches and the leg kicks and the back fist and went for the clothesline, and I don't think he hit that one. And then there was I think he hit a 450. Yeah. AJ hit a springboard 450, the little front flip where you kind of over front flip to land on your stomach. And Logan got his knees up, and I think another spot was Logan did the rolling senton where he gets you put him on the shoulders and you roll forward when after putting him in the fireman's carry, and then he followed that up with a moonsault, which was, now the moonsault we've seen him do before where he springs, where the lion saw it, whatever you want to call it, where you spring off the middle rope and do the backflip. He did it, but like he had to clear a good bit of ring. That's why it was impressive. Not just him doing it. It was like him doing it and having to clear like a lot of distance, a good bit of distance. So he was able to clear it, hit it fine, and that didn't do the job. So then, after that, I don't know if AJ. Oh yeah. Then Logan hit a Styles Clash on AJ. Uses AJ's own finisher. Hits a Styles Clash on AJ. And when he's going for the pinfall, AJ then rolls Logan up and puts him into the Styles Clash and hits the Styles Clash. And so that was pretty good. Like, he's like, oh, that ain't gonna work for me, brother. So AJ was like, I ain't gonna sell my own move that much. So he hits the Styles Clash on Logan, and they both sold it. Then, which I thought that was the part where the match was picking up pace. I'm like, okay, now we're getting it. Now we've hit a more notable spot, so this match can really get into that gear it needs to get into. Like, I thought that was the good starting point to get it there. Because before that, I forgot to mention how they started. It was just normal wrestling, like lockups and takedowns and hip toss and drop down, leapfrog. They were doing a normal wrestling match. Now, that would have been fine if this match would have got more time, or if they would have did more impressive stuff after that. I thought this match was going to have a lot more like different, crazy, maybe some crazy unique counters, or maybe some crazy athletic spots or something, but they just didn't do that. But anyway, the finish was that Logan's manager came up there to try to give him the brass knuckles, but Karrion Kross, who we've seen go back and forth and talk to AJ backstage on Raw, he comes up there, takes the brass knucks from him, and shoves Logan's manager, and then basically Karrion Kross tries to convince AJ Styles to use the brass knuckles, but Logan decides different, or AJ decides differently. Like, he doesn't want to be that version of himself. Throws the knucks down and shoves Karrion Kross. I don't know if he hit him with a move or if he shoved him or something, but I think he hit him with something. maybe a punch forearm, whatever. But boom, got Karrion Kross up out of there, and then hits Logan with a forearm, and oh yeah, I think he was gonna hit Logan with a forearm, and then I don't know if Karrion Kross got involved and maybe AJ shoved him off or something. It was something like basically I think Karrion Kross distracted him in some way, and so that when when AJ did the springboard to hit the phenomenal forearm, he missed Logan, and Logan caught him with the one lucky punch where he does the overhand right. With the titanium screws in his knuckles and stuff like that, legitimately, apparently, boom, hits his knockout punch, and then hits his pulverizer where he picks the guy up, flips him, and then catches him into a DDT. So he hits the punch and the pulverizer, 1, 2, 3. So I was 5-0 on predictions. This match, I think I gave a 6 because I thought the match was going to be better. I thought it was going to have more spots. I thought it was going to have a lot more athleticism show. Like Logan did his, own little moves, but it wasn't built up in a way where, okay, the move is really impressive. I think it's because it's a mixture of two things. One, now that we can expect Logan to do these moves, it kind of loses its luster a little bit because now we know he can do these moves. It's not like, oh, wow, he can do that. I didn't know. Now it's okay, now we know he can do that. You know what I'm saying? So it was that. And then, yeah, and I felt the match just, either the match should have had more, the second thing is either the match should have had more time, or if they knew they weren't going to have a whole lot of time, they probably shouldn't have started with a normal wrestling match where like we lockups and headlock takeovers. Like I feel like when you know you don't have a lot of time, that either you need to start out guns blazing, giving the crowd the good stuff early, like how they did with the Fatal 4-Way and the Triple Threat, where they just started trading forearms and hitting big moves. You either gotta start like that, or if you're gonna do some chain normal wrestling, that should only be happening for like the first minute and a half, and then after that it need to be all gas no brakes on some Jacob Fatu timing. But yeah, that I gave this match like a 6 because it just didn't, to me, when I was watching it, it just didn't. It didn't suck, but it didn't have enough time to really get into that groove that I know both of those guys could have got into to really make this a great match. So that's why I gave this match a 6. It just didn't. They did fine. It's just it didn't have enough time to really get into the groove. The crowd was kind of not the most alive for it either. Here and there, they were alive for when Logan did some taunts to get them booing, but other than that, like I said, they popped on the thing where Logan hit the Style Slash and then he went for a cover and AJ picked him up and hit a Style Slash on him. They popped for that. So that's why I was saying like it felt like it was getting into the groove it needed to get into. If it would have just went like maybe 7-8 more minutes, I think it would have been a good match. But it was a solid or decent match at best, so I gave it like a 6 out of 10. Unfortunately, thought they were going to do more, thought they were going to have more spots, more, different displays of athleticism. We got that, but it was it wasn't in the major scale that we thought we were going to get it in. So Logan actually did a lot in this match as far as like he got a lot of the offense actually in this match. So if they have another match, hopefully it can be better. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we move on to the tag team championship match for the females. It was Liv Morgan and Raquel versus Lyra Valkyria and supposed to be Bayley, but then they said that Bayley got attacked. I think Liv and Raquel attacked her, and so Lyra comes out there with the bird wings and everything, and then we're like, who is it gonna be? You know what I'm saying? So it ended up being, whoa, 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 whoa. It ends up being the man, Becky Lynch, coming back at WrestleMania, which didn't shock me because once they said that Bayley was out, I kind of figured it was going to be Becky Lynch. I think also somebody said it on Twitter. Somebody on Twitter was like, it's probably going to be Becky Lynch. And once I seen somebody say that, like basically put it out there, that it could be her, I was like, yeah, it's going to be her. Because, they're both Irish and Becky wants to, help out certain younger talent. So, with them both being Irish and everything, it just made sense. So Becky returns. Crowd popped pretty nice and big because it's a return. She hadn't been there for a little while. So, boom, she teams up with Lyra, and nothing happened in this match that really was to go home about. It wasn't that long. Only thing I remember is like, Lyra tried to tag Becky in there, but, Liv basically took her off the apron, ran around the ring to basically lure her into a trap by getting it out the ring while have Becky chase her, getting into the ring, and then Raquel meets her with a big boot. Then she got the tag. And then Liv hit an Oblivion for a near fall. I think Lyra broke up the pinfall. And then Liv I think. Oh, then Lyra hit like a tornado DDT on the floor on the Raquel, and then Liv, I think, got distracted by that in some way. So when she got back in the ring, she got hit with a manhandle slam. 1, 2, 3. And Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria are your new women's tag team champions. Now, the reason why it was so anticlimactic, or not anticlimactic, but it was just like not really much in it for me, is because one, the match wasn't that long. Two, I didn't really care. Even though it was a Becky Lynch return, I didn't really care about the match. There was just nothing on the line. Like a title was on the line, but as far as story wise, there was nothing that made me go, I have to see the match, you know. And that's just a matter of WWE just not making those tag titles feel important. But Becky won, and I was just like, Becky and Lyra were tag champs together, you know. Good old Irish lads are the champions, you know. And then, yeah, and I gave the match like a 4 because I wasn't that interested. The only thing that gave it any type of juice was Becky returning. So, yeah, and then like I said, the match didn't go that long, and it just ended with a simplistic manhandle slam. Like it just was like Becky got hit with an oblivion by Liv. I think the pinfall got broken up. Then Becky hits her finish and it does the job. It's like okay, if Liv was just a women's world champion, who I think she kicked out of Rhea Ripley's finish, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the matches they had, she kicked out of her finish. But yeah, Becky hits her finish. It only takes 1, so it just doesn't work for me, brother. So 4, maybe 4.5, only because the Becky return could give it more points because I guess you could say it gave a little character to the match. But even then, when the match started, the crowd wasn't just magically brought alive to the hills when Becky got in there. When she got the tag, they did, but like it wasn't like the fans were all of a sudden super interested in the match, you know. But anyway, gave it like a 5 out of 10, maybe 4.5, just because I didn't really care for the match. The only thing that gave it any life is Becky coming back, and just feel bad for Bayley too, man. Like it wasn't like she was legit injured, like they had to do this angle. They just decided, all right, we're gonna have her and Becky. You know, like I said, they're both from Ireland and stuff like that, and I guess they're gonna use Becky to help Lyra out and stuff like that. So whatever, you know. Don't have anything against Becky. It's just, I don't know, man. That felt very Hoganish. I'm not going to say she's Hogan, but I'm saying that was a little Hoganish. Like, think about it. You got to take this girl out from the 4 Horsewomen, you know, take her out and replace her with the bigger star, you know. I'm the bigger star, so let me, you know, you get taken out and I join in and I win the title. So on top of that, they won the titles, which I figured was going to happen. Once it was Becky, I was like, okay, they're winning the titles because why would they have her make this big return and lose? So I'm going back and forth on this. On one hand, I predicted Liv and Raquel to win, but that was assuming that Bayley was going to be the opponent. But Bayley and Lyra were going to be the opponents. But once it was Becky, I figured okay, Becky's winning. But at the same time, I told myself I couldn't change my predictions. But in all fairness, the prediction was based off a whole nother person being the partner. So that's not fair. So I gave myself like a pass on that one. So I guess we can say we get a pass on that one. We'll just rule that out as a prediction. Because again, it changed on the fly. And again, I figured they were winning once Becky was the partner. But anyway, so I guess you could say I was 6-0, or I just get a pass on that one with the predictions. And we get to the main event of the evening. It's like essentially they use that match to bring the crowd down, other than the Becky Lynch return. Other than that, bring the crowd down a little bit so that we can get them all up for this, so they can preserve some energy for this match, which was the match, man. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena, WWE Championship on the line. John Cena makes his entrance with the all black. It was like all black and white on his entrance whenever. Like it didn't show never give up on the Titantron or nothing. It was just straight, just John Cena in white font in black on the ramp. So I had the last time is now, you know, t-shirt holding behind his head, or a towel holding behind his head. And then he gets to the ring. And then we get Cody had some like motocross. People doing like motocrossing on the entryway where they were like, one was leaping on this side, one was leaping on the other side. So that was pretty cool for Cody's interest. And they all had Cody's, you know, American Nightmare merch on while they were doing it. And then Cody's music plays and he comes out with this helmet with, you know, the American Nightmare, you know, type of style. And then he does the thing where like the mask kind of pops open, like how you see it with Iron Man or something, where the mask just pops open. Like you don't have to take it off, it just pops open that middle part. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty cool. Crowd does the whoa in his entrance, and then we get to the match. So like I said, I've watched myself doing a live reaction to the highlights, so I don't even have to call it move for move. Cena hit like 4 AAs and they didn't do the job. I think he hit like 3 normal ones, and then one of them was off the middle rope. Cody hit 2 Cody cutters, that didn't do the job. I think there was a crossroads that was hit, but the referee was down. And Travis Scott came out there. Travis Scott came out there. His music, they paid, his fiend for his entrance music. Obviously his own song. Comes out there, tries to do some damage to Cody. He gets in the ring and he goes for a punch and he misses. And Cody grabs Travis and does the crossroads. And I was like, man, I ain't gonna cap. That had the potential to be an ugly crossroads. And it was not. It was not. It was actually pretty much perfect. So he hits the crossroads on Travis Scott. That's his little receipt right there, which he needed to get. And while the ref is down, Cena was taking down the turnbuckles, and I think he bounced Cody's head into the metal ring post like 3 times and hit an attitude adjustment, and that was a near fall. So that was like, he was really working to put him away. And so the match ended with Cena was about to hit Cody with the championship, and Cody like grabbed it and stopped him, and Cena's like begging him off like no. And so this was the story that Cena was telling on Friday, like, you're gonna have to choose. He's like, there's gonna be a moment in a match where you're gonna have to either choose the fans and like do what's right or win. And that just means basically another way of saying either you need to go in there and win this match by any means possible, or you gonna try to be honorable and stuff like that and be the guy for the fans. So boom, Cody hesitated, and that allowed Cena to kick him in the nuts, do the low blow, and then I think it was the low blow, and then he hit him with the championship title. The referee turned around and counted the 1, 2, 3. Yes, you heard that right. Bell rings, and that boy John Cena is the new WWE champion and is now a world record breaking 17-time world champion. He now has the most records, surpassed Ric Flair 16. Now he is a 17-time world champion, and he is broken the record for most world title reigns in WWE history, man. So great to see it, and great to see Cena win. That's what I wanted to happen. Like I said, my reactions to all of this stuff I'm saying are literally on TikTok. Go check that out. I tried to post some of it on Instagram, but Instagram takes so many times. It takes so much to upload as far as like, it just takes so much time. So I was like, okay, the hell with it. But I want to talk about, so that was the win. That was the review as far as the matches. But I wanted to talk about the obvious thing, the big talk. Everybody's like, oh, well, it sucked. Oh, the finish sucked. Because, we didn't get Rock coming in there. Maybe a Stone Cold to try to stop him. Maybe we get that or something like that, and it ends maybe still with Cena winning, but we, maybe have had a more exciting big finale finish. Maybe Seth and Paul Heyman get in there, and maybe it's some type of, maybe at the end of the show we have Rock and Seth and Heyman and John Cena and I guess Travis Scott or whatever. They're all this super group as a new version of like a corporation or NWO takeover company style thing. All these wild ideas. And to that I say, it's honestly a mixture of like, okay. And this is, alright, so I apologize because this is going to be like probably the longest part of the video. I will admit, when I was on stream, after I was celebrating and leaping up and down for John Cena winning the 17-time world champion, I grew up on John Cena. Like I said, when he was a kid, I grew up on John Cena. When I was a kid, he was my favorite wrestler. Thought he was the greatest of all time. That's why I always say he's like my childhood GOAT, because in my childhood, he was the greatest of all time. Then I got older, learned about different people, and he became my third GOAT, only under Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And yeah. Yeah, so it was great to see that. But then after the stream, I was like, man, I will say, even though I love that he won the 17-time world championship, it should have been a way better finish as far as how they got to him winning the title in those last, minute or two or whatever. The finishing sequences or touches, I guess you could say, of the match should have been more exciting, and fans were saying, oh, it was anticlimactic, it sucked. I will admit on my stream, I was saying like, oh, they should have had, obviously Rock come out there, because he's part of this whole thing. And he's essentially, storyline-wise, he's orchestrating this whole thing. So, and really as a shoot, if you want to be honest, orchestrating this whole thing. And was the catalyst for Cena's heel turn. We still haven't gotten any mention of him. He doesn't show up in the build-up of WrestleMania after the Elimination Chamber, Cena heel turn. And he doesn't get involved in this match to help Cena out. So, on one hand, I was like, yeah, it should have been a more exciting finish because Rock is involved in this story, so it makes sense that he would be at the biggest show, WrestleMania. and helping win, and maybe like a Stone Cold comes up because he did come out there. I forgot to mention that Stone Cold glass broke. I went crazy because he was out there to announce the attendance. He did his thing, give me a hell yeah, announce the attendance and drunk beer and all that. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, so but it was great to see Stone Cold. But then yeah, so maybe you see him come out there and maybe take out The Rock or something like that, and maybe Cena still wins, but we just get some exciting electric finish to lead up to it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, Cena said that he wanted to ruin wrestling, and he like basically is no longer in the business of caring about the fans. Well, think about it. If when he turned heel, he said, "You're not getting new music, you're not getting new attire because I dress, you guys dress like me, I don't dress like you guys, and this is who I am. So I'm not in the business of caring about what the fans want anymore." Well, technically, that then the finish still plays into that. If Cena doesn't care about what the fans want and he is fine with disappointing the fans and making them upset, then technically this plays right into that. He could have had Rock come out there and help him, but he probably thought, oh well, fans would have wanted that though. They would have wanted The Rock to be a part of my world title, 17th world title number 17 record breaking win. They would have wanted The Rock to be a part of that, right? Because we're all aligned together, right? So they would have wanted The Rock to be a part of that. But how do you disappoint fans? And if a heel is gonna be the one winning the championship, it would make sense that the finish wouldn't be fun and electrifying. Because remember, WrestleMania 40 was a fun finish, right? Rock and Taker and Solo and John Cena, funny enough, all interacting with each other to take, to all kind of fend off against the good guys and bad guys, all coming out to play to, get their guy to win the championship. And Cody ended up, so all that electrifying finish with Undertaker coming in there and John Cena. And Cody ends up winning the championship because they finally had, some big stars to really fend off the bloodline and stuff like that. Okay, well, if you just had a big electrifying finish like that, it makes sense to do that if the babyface is winning. Because if the babyface is winning, you would want the finish to be very fun and make it fireworks. But think about it. If the bad guy is winning, you want to have a disappointing finish. You don't want the finish to be exciting. You don't want the finish to be thrilling. You don't want the finish to be captivating. You want it to be like, oh no, I'm disappointed that he won. So how do you make the guy disappointed that he won? By having freaking Travis Scott come out there and him winning by just hitting, Cody in the head with the championship. 1, 2, 3. Technically, if a heel is winning, the finish should be disappointing and you should feel let down. So who's to say that Cena didn't purposely make it that way to where because if you think about it, not all the fans know, the inner workings of wrestling to certain degrees. The only way you can really make the fans that really keep up with this stuff like that mad, because, back in the day, if you were a good enough heel, everybody was legit mad at you. But now that they know the workings of the business to a certain degree, now they, it's hard to kind of, get fans legit upset. Well, here's how you get the fans legitimately upset. By having the finish not be electric, by having it be a disappointing finish. And the fans are in an uproar about it, but here's the difference. John Cena could have a disappointing finish, but we wanted him to win world title number 17, and we're still going to tune in every single week to see what he's going to say and do on the weeks after this. So if anything, mission accomplished, right? Cena is talented enough to where he can disappoint the fans, I guess you could say, in the lead up to the finish. He can afford to disappoint the fans because he knows they're still going to watch. So even if the finish could have been more exciting, it could have been better. John Cena is talented enough to disappoint the fans and still end up having captivating television after that. Some people disappoint the fans and the story is so bad and the finish is so disappointing that you're turning fans off from the product. I think Cena here is can afford to make the fans disappointed in the finish, but still keep people watching. Because right, they say it's go away heat, right? When you disappoint the fans in a way where it makes them not want to watch the product, not in a way where it's playing good into the heel bad guy's role. He's disappointing the people. They're getting the wrong type of anger and disappointment, wrong type of heat where the fans don't want to watch anymore. That's how bad the product is, rather than that's how good it's working because we're mad or whatever. But anyway, I kind of saw it in that perspective, well, maybe if Cena's whole thing is that he doesn't care what the fans want, then he wouldn't want The Rock to come out there and help him win, because that's what fans would have wanted. They would have wanted him to come out there and help him. Now, the difference is, of course, fans would have wanted Cena to win world title number 17, but it plays into the story, right? Because Cena obviously should have want to win that world title. It's just there happen to be fans that want that too. But the fans also wanted an exciting finish. Well, if you give him a disappointing finish because a heel is winning, it makes sense that the finish would be disappointing. Because again, WrestleMania 40 was an electric finish, but that's the thing, the face was winning. So it makes sense to throw all the smoke and mirrors and all the fireworks to as a exciting finishing sequence of a match, because the face is the one winning. So if the face is gonna win, yeah, it should be an exciting, thrilling finish. But if a heel's winning, why would you want to? Why would if a heel is gonna win? Why would you have an exciting finish where all these legends or whoever comes out to play, maybe Rock comes down there or whoever? Like, why would you do all that exciting firework-esque finish if the whole point of a heel winning a match is for the fans at the end of it to feel disappointed? So I looked at it from that perspective, and I'm like, I can see this playing into Cena say he's gonna ruin the wrestling, and he doesn't care what the fans want. He don't care if the fans want a cool finish. He didn't care about having that. He just wanted to win the title. He don't care about whether or not Rock helped him or whether people would have wanted to see that play out. So it could play into that, or it was just them not having an electric finish, and just for the sake of it, that's just what they decided to do. So I don't know, but initially on the stream, I looked at it from the first perspective that everybody else was, where like, finish should have been more exciting. Like, we are okay with Cena winning it, but it's just the finish, how they got to it, should have told more story. Because, you look at last night with Roman and Seth and Punk, their finish was exciting because Heyman turned heel. Pretty much will return to form, right? Because he's a true heel. We know that he returned to form by being a heel, not only turning on his best friend CM Punk, but turning on his tribal chief Roman Reigns and aligning himself with Seth Rollins, which would have to make Seth a heel as well. Because if Heyman just betrayed both of his guys to get with you, I don't think that makes you a face. So I'm thinking this is Seth's heel turn as well, and Seth's now Paul Heyman guy. Now some say, well, that was a heel winning. Well, if this is a Seth heel turn, which it pretty much is, because he aligned himself with Heyman and Heyman betrayed his guys, and Seth being with him would make him betray everybody. So some would say, well, he turned heel, a heel won that match, and it was an exciting, captivating finish. Yeah, but that was him turning heel. It'd have been different if Seth had already been a heel going into the match. It's obviously going to be an exciting finish if the guy's turning heel, because if a guy's turning heel, then it has no other choice but to be an exciting finish, right? It's a big, shocking moment. So that has to be an electric finish, because if a guy's turning heel, that'll always be a massive, if a top star is turning heel, that will always be a massive deal and be captivating and be exciting. That has to be, that's going to be exciting no matter what. Anybody that's turning to a different side, that will always be a big moment, whether a heel turning face or a face turning heel. That's already, just that alone is going to be exciting. So you can't, that's going to be exciting no matter what. So that's different than with Cena, where Cena's already going in as a heel. So you should probably have a disappointing finish. Like, technically, if a heel is winning at the end of the night, as fans, you're supposed to be disappointed. So yeah, it works that the finish wasn't exciting, because if a heel's winning, why would you want if a heel's winning, it makes sense not to have an exciting finish. You know what I'm saying? But then some fans can just look at it in the creative perspective. Like, some fans just keep it in that perspective of, oh, it's terrible creative. How I see it is this. It's justified in certain ways that you could say that, oh, they should have had a better finish, or the finish should have been more exciting, especially since The Rock is involved in this feud, which I agree that Rock should have actually showed up more for this feud, just so that you tie him into this rather than just having him be the catalyst for Cena's heel turn and then he's never mentioned, like, ever. Or they never get any clarity on what the relationship there is with Rock and Cena. I agree with that. I agree that The Rock, honestly, he has his hand in a lot of different jars. Like, he wants to do so much with the, promoting his product and doing this and doing that and doing movies and doing whatever. And now wrestling and now owning. I will say he's so all over the place that it's almost kind of like, how can we incorporate him in this story if every time he shows up it's so sporadic? It's not like we know for sure when he's going to show up. Like with Cena, he has his announced dates. I wish we had something similar with The Rock, where most of the time we know he's going to be there, so that we know how he can play out in this story. But with him kind of showing up all over the place, it kind of messes up how, I guess you could say, consistent the story should be. But y'all let me know what perspective y'all see of him. Do y'all see it as, well, he's a heel, so it's supposed to be a disappointing finish? Or do y'all see it as, okay, nah, this just wasn't a good finish. We were fine with Cena winning, but this is a good finish. Now I kind of see it like, as well as like, as fans, it's justifiable complaint, but we can get a little greedy. Like, yeah, they did say it was going to be bigger than WrestleMania 40, but maybe that's what they, by Cena winning number 17, that's a pretty big deal. So maybe that's what they meant. But some could say fans get a little greedy, which, you know, because it's like justifiable complaint, but at the same time, can one say fans get a little greedy because uh you want to Cena to win world title number 17, but then because they didn't have an electric finish, now you did, you know, now it's all, it sucks. So you got what you want. You got the result you wanted, but because they didn't do it in the way you wanted, now you get mad. You know, that's kind of picking and that's being very picky because, okay, you got what you wanted, but because they didn't do it quite the exact way you wanted them to do it, you know, that's a little, because at the end of the day, wrestling's all subjective. So it's not like just because certain fans don't like this, that justifies it as bad. It just means, okay, there's a certain set amount of fans that wanted the finish to be more fun, but you still got the result you wanted. So some can say fans are a little greedy because you still got the result, but you found a way to still get mad by saying, oh, the finish didn't have all of this stuff I expected. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments down below. I'm going to get y'all out of here, bros. I could talk about this way longer, but I got to have an end to it. There has to be a means to an end, I guess, as you could say. But anyway, love and appreciate you guys. At the end of the day, what can I say? It is what it is, and what it's going to be is a project continue to come out with constant vicious bangers over and over again. If you watch this whole video, you are a trooper. And you are a day one supporter. So support all of these medias as well. We're going to be putting in the work, grind time, and effort. I say we because y'all got to put in the work by liking this video, sharing it, post notifications, and like, comment, subscribing. That's some work. You know what I'm saying? And I got to put in these work for these videos. But love and appreciate you guys. Check out the stream. We live streamed it if you didn't see it. And like I said, posted the clips on TikTok if you don't need to see all of it. But anyway, I shall see y'all in the next video, man. That is the vibe that DJ's on. And I shall see y'all in the next video.